Welcome back to the channel, Dev members. That's right, this week's video is coming a couple days early. Don't worry, you're not going crazy. I didn't mess up the upload schedule. I just wanted to address this sooner rather than later. As I'm sure by now everyone is aware, there was a tragic shooting in Nashville, Tennessee at the private Covenant School. A person who I will simply refer to as the shooter from here out, because frankly they don't deserve any more than that. A shooter shot their way into a private Christian school and murdered 6 individuals. I want to take a brief moment at the start of this video to say how horrible this was. We are praying for all the victims' families, and anybody that was affected by this shooting. I cannot imagine what you're going through, and we truly feel for your loss, and we are praying for peace in your lives. Now, predictably, the anti-gun and anti-constitution activists in this country were ready to pounce and point fingers and weaponize this latest tragedy for their agenda. After all, never waste a good crisis. And with that comes the usual rhetoric of enough is enough. We just have to do something. How many more lives do we have to lose? Ban assault weapons. If you truly care about saving lives, please stop. Stop and look at the situation objectively. Look at the whole scope of what happened in Nashville and look at all the other mass shootings. Thankfully, there are a lot of well-educated individuals on the pro-Second Amendment, the pro-gun side, especially on YouTube. And they've really done a fantastic job of dispelling any misinformation that has been really pushed by the other side and their anti-gun and gun confiscation agenda. Now, I was considering doing an emergency episode of the new Good Guy with a Gun series, but even that has been touched on. That said, officers Rex Engelbrett and Michael Collazo, thank you. Thank you also to the amazing response from the MNPD. You have all just set the bar for all police departments across this country, and indeed across the world. Again, thank you for saving so many lives with your quick response. So instead of doing a Good Guy with a Gun episode or just going through the shooting and talking about the importance of carrying, I wanted to address something that came out fairly early on in the investigation and the information release last week. It's just been really frustrating how there's this really big piece of the puzzle as to why this shooting took place the way it did. And it seems just so obvious how he can fix it, and it's not having any real effect on the general public. It feels like we've just overlooked it or swept it under the rug. Shortly after the shooting, a manifesto was discovered, and it indicated that several targets had been designated, but they ultimately chose the private Covenant School because it had the least security. This right here is why we have so many mass shootings. This is why we have so many shootings at schools. They are easy targets. They don't have security. They don't have resource officers. They don't have guns. They don't have the ability to protect themselves. You know, we've been saying it for years, but we keep being written off as the crazy right-wing nut jobs, the pro-gun, the gun nuts that really don't understand how the world works in the 21st century. Guess what? This time, it didn't come from the right wing. That didn't come from the NRA, the GOA, the FPC, the average gun owner. This came from the criminal. This came from the individual that had no regard for human life or any regard for the law. It came from the shooter. We finally have the bad guy saying why they chose a certain location to shoot up. We don't need any further proof as to why places like schools are chosen to carry out shootings. Your average bad guy has the same mindset, the same mentality of an animal predator. While they may have no regard for human life and may just want to go kill someone or something, they're going to choose targets that offer the least resistance. You don't see even apex predators going after targets that are going to put up a fight because they like a challenge. They're looking for the easy kill. That's why so many shootings take place at schools and other places where people aren't allowed to carry guns. When was the last time you saw or heard a story about a mass shooting at a police station or at a gun show? That doesn't happen because there's a lot of people there with firearms. That would be instant death to a person that wants to take lives. Therefore, they aren't going to target a place like that. Oh, and this got forgotten. Before anybody calls out the fact that in the 911 call, the staff member said that there were maybe 1 or 2 people that carry, or I think in her words, she said packing. That was in no way definitive, and it was never confirmed whether those people were either carrying that day or even had their guns on them. So let's not even get into that. And we have now gotten to the topic that I very much try to avoid on this channel. I've touched on it, you know where I stand, but now it has to come up. No guns allowed signs do not work. They very well may be the dumbest, most ridiculous, and pointless thing that we as a society here in the United States have created. The only thing they do at best is create a false sense of security for those people that are naive enough to think that they actually do something. Let's look at no guns allowed signs for a moment. The people that are going to obey that sign aren't the people you're going to have to worry about. The people that disobey the sign are probably the same people that really don't care about the law or human life. A good guy that is a firearm owner, that person is not someone you have to worry about. The people you have to worry about in society are the people that have guns, that have no regard for human life, or are willing to destroy a life. And I'm gonna tell you something. The people that have no regard for human life are not going to care about a no guns allowed sign. When was the last time you saw a story where a bad guy with a gun was going to go shoot somebody, but they got to the door, saw a no guns allowed sign, and then they turned around distressed because, oh, I can't go in and do what I was gonna do? The no guns allowed sign is only harming the good people, the people that are willing to defend themselves and those around them. It isn't doing a damn thing to stop a bad guy with a gun. So there's the problem. You know, I was taught that if I'm going to complain about something, whether it's in the family or in society or at school, what have you, that if I'm going to complain or point out a problem, it doesn't do any good unless I also have a possible solution. So, to those out there that want to actually do something, affect positive change in this country, and stop or decrease the number of mass shootings in this country, and I hope that's everyone, I have 3 ideas, and the first 2 go hand in hand. Number 1, lift the ban on firearms in certain locations and take down no guns allowed and guns prohibited signs. They don't work. Like I said, all they do is give people in those locations a false sense of security, and they act as a beacon to the bad guys that want to take people's lives. Imagine a place that had lots of guns in it, held by good people. Again, I hold there are far more good people in this world than bad people. And if you allow the good people to be equipped anywhere they go with the most effective tool to defend themselves and those around them, then you're going to have less people going in and trying to shoot up a lot of people because they know they're not going to be able to get away with it. Get rid of the no guns allowed signs and lift the bans on weapons in certain places, especially in schools. Number 2, and this goes along with my first thought, allow teachers and school staff to carry firearms on school grounds. Imagine if a shooter walked up to a school and instead of seeing a sign that said no guns allowed, seeing a sign that said our teachers are armed. One of the primary duties of teachers and staff members at schools is to ensure the safety of the children in their care. That's why schools have active shooter training, so that teachers and staff members know what to do in the tragic event that somebody comes into a school and starts shooting people. If faculty and staff are expected to protect the children, again, why are we not allowing them to have the most effective tool to protect these children? Along with that, offer additional supplemental training on how to use a firearm in an active shooter situation at the school. I don't know what that looks like, but I know there are plenty of police officers and former military members that are willing to teach tactics to people. Let this be optional for teachers that want to better ensure the protection of the people in their care. Let teachers have firearms in the school and in the classroom and offer training to them. Hey everyone, just a quick addendum to the video. I just got a notification saying that it looks like Tennessee is actually going to be looking at adding security measures to schools. And that may include, I think I saw there was a bill introduced that would allow teachers to start carrying in schools. Yes, this is exactly what we're talking about. Sorry to interrupt the video, but I just had to add that because, you know, that is just so fantastic to see that people are actually maybe now finally seeing the light, and maybe we will finally get some good progress here. Anyway, I'm going to finish walking the dog and we'll get back to the rest of the video. And that leads me to my third idea or third thought on the situation. You know, the first two were more of a treatment of the symptom of a much larger problem. And I'm gonna sound a little preachy here, but we'll keep that to a minimum. Our world is very sick, and the rate at which our society is declining seems to be increasing. I am convinced that we are headed to a flashpoint. I don't know what that is, whether it is a local event, if it's a countrywide thing, or God forbid, another world war. But we are coming very quickly, it feels, to a point from which there is not going to be a return to what we know as normal. We have forgotten how to be human and civil toward each other. We don't know how to treat our neighbors with love anymore. And I've said this in a few of my videos, that as the good book says, the greatest commandment is love thy neighbor as thyself. Ultimately, we have become unilaterally focused on bettering ourselves for ourselves, and I truly believe that this loss of humanity goes hand in hand with our turning away from the Almighty. Fewer and fewer people go to church, let alone regularly. Fewer and fewer people are taking time to pray, to be spiritual, to be religious. And it's going to result in the loss of our world. We have to start at the individual level. We have to start addressing the mental, emotional, and spiritual health of the people in this country and in the world. To the person watching this, turn off your screens after this video and after you hit the like button. Turn off your screens. Get away from your video games. Get away from social media. Take some time at least once a week, if not once a day, to do some interpersonal reflection. Pray, meditate. If you have a church or a community, go to services. Take time, if you're Catholic, go pray in front of the Blessed Sacrament. And you know what? If religion, if spirituality really isn't your thing, I'm not judging you. Take some time, like I said, meditate. Reflect on your life. See what is causing you angst, what is causing you happiness. Pursue the happiness as long as it is a good thing and not just a momentary good or high. Pursue that which actually truly makes you happy. Spend time with your family, with your friends. Take some time to play some board games, have some old-fashioned fun, unless it's Trivial Pursuit. Trivial Pursuit is the spawn of the devil. We are not going to fix this world if we aren't willing to try to fix ourselves, to heal what's hurting us in our day-to-day lives. Because at the end of the day, just like gun laws, no amount of legislation is going to make bad people good. The only way to help bring the world back together is if we start at home in grassroots movements in our own families, in our communities. We have to start the healing there. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. I know this was a longer, more serious gun-related video, but not showing off any firearms. We're gonna get back to that very soon, and we've got some really fun stuff coming in the coming weeks and months and the rest of 2023. We've got some really cool stuff going on out at the ranch. That's gonna do it for this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there was something that you gleaned from it. If you did, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing to the Phantom Llama's Den, and hitting the bell icon for future notifications on our content. As always, make it a great day.